Alright, here is another update on the ATK. I've been working on the exhaust pipe, and as you can see, I had to get the welder back out. So I knocked the dents out of this thing as much as I could, which you can see, like right where these two small spots are right there that I filled in. There's a pretty good sized dent right about there, right along this seam. The dents are gone, and there were dents that I couldn't get out of it, so I filled it in with weld. And my first crack at it was I just blasted a bunch of weld in there to see what I could get, and it left a lot to be desired after I ground it out. So now I've gone over all of this and filled it in even higher. So if you look at that radius, I should have more there than I need. And I'm gonna grind all that out again. And I'm gonna have to go over this spot and everywhere we see this just bubble gum crappy looking weld, because I'm not a great welder. That's all going to be areas that I'm going to have to go back over. So that little superficial dent right here I didn't worry about. Maybe I will later. And then there's one right there which I didn't worry about because it hits a part on the engine that I was afraid I was just going to have to hammer and make some room anyway, so I didn't want to do too much there. And then like this fresh bead that looks worse than the one right below it, that was where a crack was. There were a bunch of cracks up here that I had to fill in or seal up. Like that right there was another crack. And then the seam on the inside split from when I put it in the freezer. So I'm gonna have to do a lot of work here with the grinder and try to get this smoothed out. And at this point, if it doesn't look how I want it to, I think I'm going to try to get some kind of brazing rods. There's like a steel brazing rod. I can't remember the model number, but it's the same company that I use the aluminum brazing rods on the silencer. And I think that will be a lot better for filling in superficial stuff. Because at this point, I'm just trying to make it look pretty. And the thing that sucks with using this MIG welder, Lincoln 140, is, what I've learned with the MIG is the downfall is you're just throwing massive amounts of heat into what you're working on. And when you're dealing with something that's this thin a gauge, it just doesn't really like getting a ton of heat thrown into it. But so far, the pipe, despite all that stuff, I mean, you may not think it looks good, but I'm happy with how it's coming along. I'm just not happy with the labor. Good thing is there's not been much cost because I've got the welder, and I went through maybe $5 worth of sandpaper. I mean, it's just, putting water in this thing and throwing it in the freezer doesn't cost anything. So that was the real deal, is I just wanted to make this look good on the cheap. And I don't know, we'll see. I'm optimistic, but based upon how this went last time, I don't know. I don't know if that's going to turn out how I want it to once I grind it all down. But that's the update for now. The pipe is coming along, and at least at this point I can say the shape looks good. The profile is good, the cracks are sealed. Now I'm just trying to do cosmetic stuff and then the whole thing will get sanded out to an even finish. The things you do to save a buck, right? That's all I've got for now. Peace.